Lots of fantastic free plugins have been released within the last couple of months, so let's look at 20 free plugins and effects for 2025. In no particular order, let's start with Warp by Baby Audio. Warp allows for both speed and frequency control, so it can speed up or slow down a clip or a track while adjusting how the frequency response is affected with the stretch function. The mix style lets you blend in the original, which could also be useful if you're trying to create a chorusing or a delay effect. Let's take a quick listen. Next, we have Bass Saturator by Bedroom Producers Blog. This plugin offers a quick and really effective way to shape a bass, kick drum, or even a drum stem. The subdial can significantly emphasize low frequencies while adding harmonics to create fullness. Meanwhile, Dirt adds enjoyable distortion while Body accentuates the high mids. Tape both maximizes the signal and imparts odd-ordered harmonics. When dialed in and combined, it's a really impressive effect. Here's the plugin on a drum stem. Next is Break Shaper by Blanket Fort Audio. This is designed for drum buses to create a breakbeat sound, so heavy distortion, subtle to moderate frequency modulation, and some drastic EQ are included. The filter could be switched from low pass to high pass to band pass, and the tilt EQ filter could be switched to a smile filter or low and high emphasis with the mids dipped. I always like plugins like this, something that combines simple but effective processing to create a distinctive sound. Let's run through some presets to get a sense of what it can do. Next, we have Vocal Menace by Chris Leap. This plugin reminds me a lot of that Waves Chris Lord Algae vocal effect that combines compression, saturation, reverb, and delay to create a quick vocal chain. However, I find this one to be easier to control and with some innovative features. For example, the duct reverb and delay control is great for retaining transients. The air filter post-compression is a great way to create a polished pop vocal, while the lo-fi filter expands the genres this plugin could work well for. It's a well-optimized and genuinely good-sounding plugin, so let's take a listen.
It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates.
Number 16 is Seaquake by Cowaves. This one is specific, mainly for techno kicks, but it's a convenient effect nonetheless. It adds a swooping resonance to any kick, giving it a longer decay time while allowing you to saturate and time the effect. It's simple, but definitely useful to EDM producers. Next is Dyna by FXFX. This is one of my personal favorites on the list. It's a wave shaper with an immense amount of flexibility. The presets are a great place to start, but if you click on the graph, you'll find a table that allows for pinpoint control over the wave shape, including controls to smooth, normalize, flip, shift left or right, and a lot more. Now personally, I really like that when I select a preset, I'm not instantly hit with a crazy sound, but instead, given the option to slowly introduce it with the morph dial. Nothing's worse than when you're looking for a cool effect and you get ear damage instead. I can't demo everything, but let's take a listen to a couple presets being introduced. Next up, we got Tube Shifter by Frostwave Audio. This one looks like it would be aggressive, but the effect is surprisingly nuanced. The only qualm that I have with it is that the harmonics are all odd-ordered, while tubes usually impart some even-order harmonics due to asymmetrical wave shaping. Regardless, it's a simple plugin that lets you introduce enjoyable distortion and then tilt the amplitude of the harmonics with the color dial. Next up at number 13, we have Pi Lite by AVH, which is a great emulation of the Pi pedal, typically used for distorting guitars and bass guitars. Tone increases the high frequency range, while sustain increases the sustain of the instrument. The mix style is helpful, since the plugin can often be too aggressive. Now I enjoy this effect on a lot of instruments, so I'd recommend using it creatively on multiple sources. Number 12 is Obliterate by Newfangled Audio. Newfangled Audio is one of my favorite developers, and this plugin doesn't disappoint. It includes 2 filters that could be morphed between low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch filtering. The skull icon could be set on a particular frequency, and distortion around that selected range could be introduced with the slider. The too much and the too most functions introduce the same type of distortion, but too much is gated, while too most includes a full sustain of the distortion. It's creative, very cool sounding, and it's a great plugin for imparting moderate to aggressive filtering and distortion changes to a signal quickly. Next up, we got Reverb Delay Calculator by Polarity Audio. This one isn't an effect, it's just super useful. It loads like a regular plugin, measures the BPM of the session, then offers recommendations for reverb and delay times. So, with this 112 BPM session, a recommendation for reverb to sound like a small room while being in time with the session is a total of 535.71 milliseconds. 8.37 milliseconds is the value of the pre-delay, and 527.34 milliseconds is the value of the overall decay time. This way, the pre-delay and the overall reverb are both in time with the track. Speaking of reverb, we have PSP Chamber by PSP AudioWare. So another favorite developer of mine, PSP released a new free reverb chamber plugin. It's super simple with 3 room sizes and 3 algorithms. Meanwhile, the decay and the pre-delay times are variable with a dampening function. An EQ allows for tonal changes to the reflections, while width allows for variation to the stereo image. The comprehensive preset list also offers a fantastic and a quick way to find some solid settings for the reverb. Let's take a quick listen while we're using the pre-delay time that was calculated with the Reverb Delay Calculator. Next at number 9, we have Reflex Limiter by Reflex Acoustics. Free limiters don't come out too often, so it's cool to see a new one. This one combines look-ahead limiting with a clipper. When the compression is set to 0 milliseconds, it works like a brick wall limiter, using look-ahead to measure and attenuate peaks accordingly. If a longer time is set, peaks get through and are clipped by the clipper. Having a soft knee option for both the limiting and the clipping stages is a useful way to shape the timbre of the signal as it's being attenuated. 2x oversampling is included, and a variable ceiling is a unique and cool function, but I noticed it also needs to be lowered manually to avoid any overs. Make mixes that accurately translate what you hear in your head without years of practice or expensive plugins. Seriously though, when people work with us, they get results. That's why major industry professionals like Keith Urban's producer Aaron Schurz works with us, Grammy Award-winning AJ Castillo, Billboard #1 charted artist Megan Lindsay, Grammy Award-winning artist Toulis, The Voice singer Cody Ballou, Grammy-nominated producer Tyler Kane, Warner Music artist Ricky Young, and the list goes on. Why waste your time creating mixes that look like this when you can instantly fix the problem by working directly with professionals who have already done what you're trying to do? Watch this entire video, and at the end, learn how you can start making mixes that accurately translate what you hear in your head. Next is Aurora Air by Vox Samples. So Vox Samples makes plugins that don't look like they'd be useful, but actually offer something very simple, done very well. As you probably guessed, this is a high-frequency exciter that both boosts and distorts the highs to make them more present. You select the frequency range, the amount, and adjust the output gain, and that's about it. It's simple, but really effective. Number 7 is Monster Crab Clipper by Vox Samples. So again, Vox Samples does something simple very well. This clipper is accurate, aggressive, and surprisingly full sounding when the slope is adjusted closer to a soft knee setting. 16x oversampling is available, however, I noticed that it interferes with the accuracy of the ceiling, so it's best to lower the output if you plan on using oversampling. Let's take a listen to it as the hard knee setting is slowly adjusted to a soft knee setting. For number 6, we have Magic 7 by Wave Alchemy. So Magic 7 is an emulation of the Berkastium 7. Like the other plugin that models this reverb, Seventh Heaven by Liquid Sonics, it uses impulse responses to achieve the classic sound of the unit. Even if you have Seventh Heaven, this plugin adds some new features as well as similar features with distinct behavior. For example, Smooth creates a gradual attack time for the reverb, something that's not found in the plugin. Additionally, Flux and Ensemble introduces frequency and time modulation respectively, along with some unique changes to the stereo width. So, if you love the Brickastium 7 or the Seventh Heaven plugin, this is a great way to expand on the sound of the original unit.
It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates.
Next, we have Destructor by BlepFX. So some plugins list even and odd order harmonics on the interface, but then throw any in there thinking people won't notice. But this plugin does exactly what it says it's going to do. You could drag the point toward even for even harmonics, towards odd for odd harmonics, or combine the two. A filter on the right side determines which frequencies in the signal can be saturated, making this a fantastic free multiband saturator, even though only one band could be saturated. Something like this could even be used for mastering if you isolate the saturation to about 200 Hz and below while introducing only 2 to 4% of either even or odd or both forms of harmonics. You can achieve a great result. Let's take a listen to it used more aggressively so that the effect is easier to hear. For number 4, we have Spacer by Spectral Plugins. So honestly, I don't know how this plugin is free, given how much it offers. It includes 6 modules, all of which could be rerouted to feed one processor into another. 2 types of reverb, 2 types of delay, convolution, and a chorus utility module are included, and each could be adjusted, disabled, soloed, and equalized. Using 1 to 2 modules can be very practical, while adding all 6 can cause incredibly creative effects that completely reshape the performance and the timbre of the track. So let's check out a couple of my favorite presets, but keep in mind that this is a very small example of what the plugin can do. Next up, we have Ahead by Analog Obsession. Ahead is 4 pedal emulations in one plugin, easily switchable within the plugin. Bass, mid, and treble dials allow for quick tone shaping, while the volume dials allow you to control the input to output, or the drive, resulting in more or less distortion. The 4 pedals cover a wide array of timbres, with F5 and F-Black having the most subtle effects. Let's check it out on drums, not the intended instrument, but it has a good sound nonetheless. At number 2, we have Dr. Gate by Analog Obsession. So Dr. Gate, or Drum Gate, is a simple but super useful drum gate plugin. It easily isolates transients while allowing for variable bleed and filtering to adjust how the decay of the transient is treated. Low hold and filter settings create super quick and choppy gating, while longer filter and hold settings allow for some of the reverb and the sustain to come through. Last up, we have Graylon 3 by Auburn Sounds. So Graylon 2 came out a while ago, so it's good to see that Auburn Sounds updated their most popular plugin. Graylon is a vocal tuner, formant and pitch shifter, and now includes compression, gating, and sample rate as well as bit depth distortion. The pitch detection algorithm can be switched between the current model and older versions of the plugin, a high-pass filter could be introduced, and a preamp and chorus effect can be introduced in the top left. So if you're looking for a good free tuner that offers a lot of control and includes some additional features to create unique timbres, I definitely recommend this plugin.
It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates. It's been a minute since I stepped outside these gates.
Make mixes that accurately translate what you hear in your head, without years of practice or expensive plugins. Seriously though, when people work with us, they get results. That's why major industry professionals like Keith Urban's producer Aaron Schurz works with us, Grammy Award-winning AJ Castillo, Billboard #1 charted artist Megan Lindsay, Grammy Award-winning artist Toulis, The Voice singer Cody Ballou, Grammy-nominated producer Tyler Kane, Warner Music artist Ricky Young, and the list goes on. Why waste your time creating mixes that look like this when you can instantly fix the problem by clicking the link in the description and working directly with professionals who have already done what you're trying to do? We've helped 2,346 clients make mixes that accurately translate what they hear in their heads without years of practice or expensive plugins, and it'll work for you too. Click the link in the description and get direct access to us for custom analog mastering, one-on-one mixing feedback, in-depth mixing and mastering courses, and our thriving community. Click the link in the description now to start making mixes that accurately translate what you hear in your head.